Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from AnthonysCustoms, and for this review, I'm very happy to be showing you the new Marvel Legends ARES from the Thor Ragnarok wave of Marvel Legends. Now, some people have said that this is the exact same figure as the first ARES that came out, the Build-A-Figure, and other people have said it's not the same, not counting paint. And I'll tell you exactly what's the same and what's different. But it's mostly the same, but that's actually a good thing, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we go. So let's go ahead and get him off the stand and take a closer look. This guy stands just about 7.5 inches to the top of his head. If you count his entire hat, it's about 8.25. So that makes him right around 19 centimeters and then 20.5. And so right off the bat, let's go ahead and talk about what's the same and what's different. Well, obviously the paint is totally recolored, so that's a good thing. And then most of the figure is the same. The only real differences on the figure itself are this hand has a wider grip, and the lower legs and feet are new. He has now the current Marvel Legends ankle articulation and a new sculpt for the boots. Otherwise, the figure is the same besides the paint. In terms of accessories, we do have his little knife and his sword, which are the same molds as the original ones he came with, and he also has this axe. Now, I don't know if he came with the axe originally. I don't think so. I think it came with a different figure, but I'm not positive. But either way, he does have it now. And then lastly, you can count his helmet as a separate accessory, which I would definitely suggest you leave on him because his face is goofy looking without it. Looks fantastic with it on though. I love the solid whitish silver eyes with the blue and the shading, but only when the helmet's on. So definitely leave the helmet on. And so we can talk about the paint really quickly. We do have shading throughout the darker brown, so that looks real, or the lighter brown, I guess, technically, so that looks really good. The dark brown on the elbows does not have any shading, except on this side it has a little bit, so that's a little strange. No shading in the black. Obviously, the boots have a lot of the kind of like, I guess it's dry brushing, so that's really cool. They did a really good job with that. I like that a whole bunch. They did paint his buckle, so that's really nice. They painted the rivets on his wrist, so that's really nice. They painted the rivets on his shoulder straps, and they painted his chest with a little bit of a better logo. Now, mine's got a lot of nicks and scratches and marks on it, and that's exactly how he came out of the package. So that's a bit of a bummer, but I can live with it since it's kind of battle damage looking anyway. That's okay. He does have a ding right here in his armor that's sculpted in, or at least I hope it's supposed to be there, and it's not painted to match though, so that's something worth noting. On the original one, it was on there and it kind of had dry brushing, so it looked a little bit better. They did paint the hair on his helmet very nicely, so I do like that. So overall, it's a really solid looking figure. I like the darker color scheme for this one, and it's not an incredibly expensive Build-A-Figure anymore, so that is a good thing. As far as articulation goes for this guy, the head, it really pretty much just rotates. You can't really do too much with it. It doesn't want to lean. You can just kind of lean it forward and back just a little tiny bit. It doesn't really move too much at all. For the shoulders, it's your standard ball hinge, but you get pretty much unlimited range. Anything you want to do, you can do, so that's good. Bicep swivel's fine. Single jointed elbows, not going to give you the best range. Doesn't go very far up, not even 90 degrees. But you do get an extra swivel out of that, so that will help with posability. For the wrists, you have a swivel and a hinge. I do wish they put a little bit of paint on this hand, because it's just black and it should either match this or this, but it doesn't match either. So that's a bit of a bummer, because it's clearly metal plate. Or at least paint the rivets like they did on this side, and then paint the outside part. Either way, they didn't do it, so that's a bit of a bummer. For the torso, we have pretty good range. It can lean really far back. You can see inside a little bit, but I'll let that slide. It can lean really far forward. It can lean side to side effectively. Apparently, the leg still pops off. Didn't expect that, but it does. And then you get full rotation. So the torso works particularly well, and I like that. A good diaphragm joint is better than a waist twist to ab crunch combo any day, so that's really nice. Now for the hips, which you could just see, they're almost completely vertically pegged in, so that does cause some problems when posing. You're going to have to be very conscious of that as you try to move his legs. It's a really big pain in the ass, but you do have your standard ball hinge, so once you rotate it around properly, you can raise the legs, though not very far. And they do go out to the side, no problem. So technically the posability is there for the most part. You're just going to have to spend a little bit of time working with it. Thigh swivel's there, of course. You need that with that kind of joint. Double jointed knees work perfectly. No problem at all with that. And then lastly, we have our ankle joint, which gives us a really good hinge going back. Not very much at all going forward, and then you have your ankle rocker, which is minimal. So it's effective enough. It's definitely worth picking up if you don't have the original ARES, and even if you do, I suggest you get it. Muscle striations look a little strange on the shoulder, but That's okay. They'll do. They're definitely not the most anatomically accurate, but it'll be okay. So, yeah, I really like this figure. It's not perfect by any means, but it's definitely a nice addition to the collection, and I really suggest you go get one. So, there it is, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I have new videos up every single day. We talk about action figures, movies, TV shows, video games, all kinds of fun stuff. So, make sure you come back for that. Give the video a thumbs up if you liked it, and in the meantime, keep collecting.